crafty people, this is Ellen with EGI Designs, and thanks so much for stopping by today. I am bringing you a crafty class today, and this is in the beginning basics, and this is how to make card bases for the most common card sizes that people use. I will also go over briefly how to size your mats on your card, and I will go over what size envelopes you need for each particular card size. So let's get started, and today I will be going over the sizes of A2, A6, A7, square, slimline, and mini slimline. And I will list everything I use today, all the products in the description box. I do have affiliate links, which means if you click on the link and make a purchase, I may make a small commission at no extra charge to you, and I greatly appreciate you shopping through my links and supporting my channel. Let's get started. The first one that we will work on is what most card makers usually do, which is called an A2 size card. And there's two ways to make this. You can make it side folding like a book, or you can make it top folding so it would flip up. If you have a regular letter size piece of paper, 8.5 by 11, you will get two card bases out of this. So if you cut it this way, you will have a more, you'll have the side folding, and if you cut it this way, you will have the top folding style, and I will show you that. So basically you're cutting the paper in half, however which way you want to do that. I'm going to show you how to use a scoring board, and I'll also show you on my other trimmer how to score on the trimmer. And I'm having a craft-a-lanch, I guess, over here. I apologize. Alright, so the first one I will do will be the side folding A2. So, and it continues. So what you're going to do is you put your paper in your trimmer, and you will cut it at 5.5. Okay, so now we have two pieces of paper. When you're making a card base, your card will lay flat and better if you score the where the fold line. You could just fold this in half, you know, and just pinch it, and but it's a lot nicer and neater, and it lays better if you use some type of scoring. So in this case, this is a small one. I have a Score Buddy, and then let me see. I'll have to pull my Giganto one. This one is a Score Pal, and this is for 12 by 12. So this one only goes up to 7 inches. So if you were doing a longer card, having a big one like this might come in handy. Or you can always, you know, if you have a long one, you can always flip it over and then continue your score line. So what we're going to do is we're going to score at 4.25, which is half of 8.5. Okay, and you can see that there. And you want the, where it's pushed in, you want that to be on the outside. So where it's the raised one, you want that on the inside. So you fold it over and line it up, and then you would use a bone folder to burnish the edge here. And if you're able to, it's better to use a Teflon bone folder because it will not leave a sheen or a mark on the edge of your card. Alright, so we have our A2 card base. And this can either go portrait or landscape. So depending on what's happening with your cards, I'll show you an example. I just made this Christmas card, and so this opens this way. And then if you want your card to be going this way, here's another one that I have, and that goes that way. Okay. So we have that, and then next I will show you how to do the top folding. So you need to make sure you have a trimmer that is big enough to be able to cut an 11-inch paper. So this is a Spellbinders trimmer, and this one goes to 12.5 inches. So you put this in the long way, and you would go to 4 1/4, which is half of 8 1/2 on the 8 1/2 side. And then you would cut that. And then this trimmer is pretty awesome because it has a scoring tool built right into it. So now we're going to turn and go to 4 1/4. Oh, I lied. I'm so used to going the other way. Sorry. We have to go to 5 1/2, which is half of 11, and we're on the 11-inch side. So then this is the scoring. So you just go over that, and you can see the mark there. And you can line it up. I'll do it on the ledge down here. Okay, so you could, this is the top folding, or you could actually turn it this way and open it like a book, but it's a little bit longer. So we have it like this, or we have it like this. Okay. And so you can get, out of an 8 1/2 by 11, you can get 2 card bases, just depending on the way that you want to fold it. Alright, next we are on to A6. Okay, an A6 card is a little bit different. It's a little bit wider, and it's a little bit longer. So typically a A6 card, the card base is 4 1/2 by 6 1/4. So let me show you an example. I have this one and this one. So this one is like a book, so you can see that it's a lot taller than the Here, I'll show you. Here's the A2. Right, and a little bit wider. So you get a little bit more real estate on there. And then this one I have in landscape. So you know, you get a little bit longer to work with. So let me show you how to make that. So you need a piece of paper that is 9 by 6 1/4. We cut that at 9. Now we're turning, and we need 6 1/4. And then we're going to score at 4 1/2. Okay. Let's see. So yeah, it gives you a little bit more room. It's kind of a fun, because you can do your layout a little bit differently. It's a fun, different kind of size. And they do make envelopes, especially for A6. And they make A2 envelopes for the A2. And then next we will do the A7, which is a 5 by 7. Alright, so for a 5 by 7, which is also called an A7, you need the paper to be 10 by 7. So first I'm coming and doing the 7. Then I'm coming over here and going to 10. And then we would score this one at 5. So if you haven't caught on yet, basically you double the measurement of the side so that when you fold it over you end up with the correct thing. So this is a 5 by 7, so you need a 10 by 7 to fold it in half. Stay up. Okay, so here's our 5 by 7, and this is quite a bit more real estate than the A2. So a lot of times if you need a card, you know, if you're doing like an office card that you need to send around, or sports or things like that, and a lot of people need to sign, a 5 by 7 is a really good card because you get a lot of real estate on that. Okay, so now we have the A7, which is the 5 by 7, and they do have 5 by 7 envelopes for that. Next we will talk about a square. So a square card is a little bit different because you don't have a set, you know, it's not like 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. A square card can be any size that you want to do at all. It just depends on how big your card panel is and how big your piece of paper is. If you had a giant piece of paper, you could make a giant card. I'm just trying to find for you. I had a cute little square card. Where did you go? Oh, here it is. Alright, so I tend to make my own envelopes on the 123 punch board, and I can link that particular playlist so that you can check it out. And you can make any size envelope that you need, which I love. But there are, you know, your typical 5x5 envelopes, 6x6, 8x8. So, alright, so this is a cutie little card that I made, but this was a square. So when I was trying to figure out, you know, what size card base did I want, I based it off of the panel. So I'm just trying to find my ruler. I think that went the way of the Craftalanche. So this particular panel is 4x4. So I added a 1/2 inch and then doubled that. So this is 9 by 4.5, which would give me the border around that I needed to do. So you can make whatever size you want. You just, you know, measure your card panel, add a 1/2 inch, and then double that to get the length of paper that you need. So let's just say we're gonna make a 5x5, okay, as our finished card base. So we need to do 10, because we're doubling it, by 5. So we have 10 by 5, and then we are going to score it at 5, because that's halfway. So we have 10 by 5, scored at 5. Okay, and you can either have this top folding, side folding, whatever you want. But the measurement for the card base kind of depends on your card style and how big you're making that. So if you had, you know, a panel that was 5.5 by 5.5, you might want to do a card base that is 6 by 6. So you'd have to do 12 by 6, or a little bit smaller. You could you know, do 4 by 4, and then you would need an 8 by 4. So, but squares are a lot easier to figure out because you just double what you need. Alright, let's move on to the slimlines. Okay, there's two kinds of slimlines. There is the regular slimline, and there is the mini slimline. And I love the mini slimline because it's such a fun measurement, and you know, sometimes if you don't have a lot that you want to put on a card, you know, the mini slimline is smaller, so you don't have to fill the whole front of it. So it gives you a little bit of flexibility. But slimlines right now are all the rage. There's a couple of different measurements, and you need to just, you know, figure out what works best for you. It can either be 3.5 by 8.5, or 4 by 9. So it just kind of depends on your preference. I will show you the 4 by 9. So we need an 8 by 9 sized paper. So we'll do the 9 first. And then the 8. And then, so we need to fold this in half. So we would score at 4. And this would be where, I'll just show you. So if you were going to use, if all you had was this little version, see how it's sticking off the edge there. So you could go down at 4 and then flip this around and go at 4 this way. So that's one way to do it. If you have the giant one, then it does fit all the way on there. So you just go right down the whole way. So, and then once we have that set, then we fold it in half. And we have this very, very, very big card. And you can have it go this way, or if you want to kind of make it like a book, you could do a really cool, you know, down the front kind of design. So this one is the 4 by 9. And then I will show you the, and so just to go back to the envelope sizes, if you did the slimline at 3.5 by 8.5, you could use a number 9 envelope. If you do the 4 by 9 card base, you would do a number 10 envelope. So there are, you know, the long mailing envelopes that you can use to mail these, or make your own. That's always a good option. So mini slimlines we're all the rage right now, and there's 2 different sizes of those. You can do 3.5 by 6, or you can do 3.25 by 6.25. If you do the 3.5 by 6, you would need a piece of paper that is 7 by 6, and you would score at 3.5. And if you do the 3.25 by 6.25, you need a piece of paper that is 6.5 by 6.25, and you would score at 3.25. And the mini slimlines will fit in a number 7 envelope, and they also have the envelopes that are for checks, like bank checks, or the little checks. So they will fit in there. I'm going to do the 3.25 by 6.25. I prefer that size because when I'm making a card mat, I can cut a piece of 6 by 6 paper in half and use that as my mat. So it makes it a little bit easier. So I'll show you how we do. So we're going to do 6.25 by 6.5. And then we're going to score at 3 1/4. So this is a great little size. And you can go this way or this way. However you need it to go. So this is quite a bit bigger. The regular Slimline and then the Mini Slimline. Just bring in our other ones. So it depends on how you want to, what is your project? What do you want to accomplish? So you have the regular A2, and I'll write it on here. And then this is side folding. And then we have our A2 top folding. And this is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Okay. And this one I think was our A6. Yep. So this is A6. And it is 4 1/2 by 6 1/4. And this one is a 7, which is also a 5 by 7. We had our square, which was 5 by 5. And our Mini Slimline, and then we had our Big Mama regular Slimline, and this is 4 by 9. So lots of different sizes to choose from when you're making a card. Right, and like so I said, the A2 is the most common size because it's very efficient because you can get 2 card bases out of 1 piece of paper. So I thought we would talk a little bit about making a mat for your cards. And some cards you don't need a mat, or you might not need to, might not want one. I'm just bringing in some scraps I have here. But generally, let me try to find you. So this card, I have the card panel, but then my matted layer is actually a die cut of a postage stamp. But so I do have the panel, a mat, and then the card base. This one I have the card panel, a mat, and then the card base again. This one I have a mat behind that has a very thin border, and then I had placed a square here and my sentiment strip here. And you can decide how big you want your matted layer behind. If you want a really thin border, if you want a bigger border. And then like this particular card, I just stenciled on the front of this, and there is no mat. Like this is a completely flat card. So you don't always have to put a mat or things like that. You just, it's all about your design. This particular one, I don't have a mat on it. I have a background card panel that I embossed, and then I stuck that right to the card base. And on this one, I just put the card panel right onto the card on the base. So it's just, you know, what you want your project to look like, what you're looking for. Sometimes they look more polished if you have a mat, but sometimes they don't need it. So it's kind of up to you where you want to go with your project. What I would recommend to you is to keep the ratio the same. So if we're making a card matting layer for this, you would want to what is the word? You want to, I can't think of, like, I can't think of it. Anyway, I'll probably think of it. You want to go down by the same measurement. So in this case, the card panel, we would go down by 1/4 of an inch. So it would end up being 4 by 5 1/4. Because you want that ratio to go down equally. It's kind of like when you're using you're creating something on the computer and you use the, you know, you have an image and you want to shrink it down a little bit. You want it to stay the same ratio as it shrinks. Because if you just, you know, if you did 3 by 5, so it would be really skinny and a little bit off the top and bottom. Which, if you want that to be your card style, that is completely fine. But if you're just trying to do a matting layer, you usually want to keep the ratio the same. Also, you could do 1/8. So it would be 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And that would give you a teeny tiny mat layer. So we'll cut some so that you can see. I'm just going to use those scraps from the card bases. So in this case, I'll do the 4 by 5 1/4. Right, so then you have a nice even border all the way around. Okay, we can also, I'll show you just doing the 1/8, what that would look like. Let me see if I can get a contrasting color so it'll be easier to see. So we would do 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So we're just going down by like one little mark on there. So there, that's a smaller. And then if you wanted 2 matted layers, then you could put this one on top of there. So it's going down in increments. It's just, you know, what do you want to do? You could also have, you know, like take a 1/2 inch off. So you'd have 3 3/4 by 5, and that would even be smaller. So for the square 5 by 5, I would do like, we'll do a little bit, we'll do the 3/4 one. So we'll do 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. Right, so then we get a little bit more of the border around the edge. So it just depends on what look you're going for. I'll show you on this one, the Mini Slimline. So this one I'm going to do a 3 by 6. Right? So then we have the matted layer for that. So it's just, it's, you know, what do you want for your mat to go on there, and you know, how much of a space do you want to do. I would just recommend going down at the same ratio, so either, you know, 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, 1/2 an inch, 3/4 of an inch, whatever you need it to be, but just, you know, keep it the same, you know, subtract from here. So like, let's say we were going to do 1 inch, so it would be 2.25 times 5.25, or 2 1/4 by 5 1/4, and then that would give you a smaller mat. So just depends on the design of what you want to do. So hopefully that has been helpful to you a little bit. If you enjoyed the video, if you learned something today, I'd really love to have you as a subscriber. If you could take a minute to click that subscribe button and help me grow my channel, I would greatly appreciate it, and then I can bring you more fun videos. So hopefully this has been helpful to you, learning how to do the different card bases. And I will put in the description box the card measurements so that you have that as a resource. So we got lots of choices here when you're trying to make a card. So hopefully that's been helpful. All right, until next time, take care, and like, subscribe, and all that jazz, and have a great day. Bye-bye.